Hello, we are back with another episode of Kpop Rambles with Rachel. Essentially, a conversation where I talk about my interest in K-pop and kind of ramble about that. Today's episode, we're going to talk about NCT, how I didn't realize WayV is a part of NCT, how I realized I actually listened to NCT way before I even thought I listened to NCT, me realizing that I also really enjoy NCT Wish, and all that good stuff. So without further ado, we're just going to go for it. I am doing a different type of setup, so I'm hoping the volume is okay. I'm not sure if it's too loud. Please do let me know if it is too loud or if it actually is a lot better. I'm actually a lot more comfortable in the setup that I am at now. So I'm hoping, with being more comfortable, I can kind of ramble more in that sense. So, how did I get into NCT? Well, it all started, what I originally thought was actually with WayV. And so I'm going to start with how I got into WayV first, because there's other things to talk about actually that happened way before that I didn't realize. But I'm going to start with WayV and we'll kind of backtrack from there. So, I don't remember how or why I wanted to get in. Oh, no, sorry. I do remember now. For some reason, I forgot. So, originally, I was kind of getting into the SM groups. Like, I knew about them. I already knew, some of the groups and was trying to get into them. And for Super M, they had some of my favorite members from other groups. So I was like, oh, okay, like EXO, SHINee. And I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. Why not? I'll try and listen to their music. And I didn't know any NCT members at all at that time. And the more I kept listening to their songs or their title tracks, I was like, wait a minute, these are actually really good. And I kind of essentially gaslit myself into liking them, which we'll get more into that as to why that's funny. So I was trying to figure out my bias. And is it going to be Baekhyun, or is it Kai, or who is it? Is it going to be Taemin, my other biases in other groups? And I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure. And the more I watched, I was just thinking who is it going to be though? And I realized I was actually really gravitating towards 10, and I just couldn't explain it. I was just hypnotized by him, and I was really captivated by him. And every time I saw him on the screen and heard his parts, I was just wow. I was just completely mesmerized. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to follow his Instagram. I don't know when I followed his Instagram, to be quite honest with you guys, though. But casually started following him and was like, wow, he's great. All this stuff. And then eventually, this is where it gets fuzzy. Eventually, I did dive into understanding about WayV. And a friend of mine also happened to be into WayV. And so she was suggesting, oh yeah, you should get into them. And I figured, oh, okay, maybe I'll try. And I watched some of their content and was like, wait a minute, they're actually really funny and really cute. What the heck? And so I started to learn more about them and was like, okay, cool. And it was around this time that they actually released Phantom. And I don't think I was dedicated enough to watch all the teasers at that point. I vaguely remember watching 10s, I think, but even then it was really fuzzy. So I listened to Phantom and was like, wait a minute, this song is so good. And the music video had me blown away. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, do I have to know them now? And eventually I started to learn about them. 10 obviously was my bias. But then when I started learning more about them, Yang, I'm like, sir, you're too cute, but also so wow. Also mesmerized by him. And so pretty much that was my bias line. It's still I love all of them so much though. So it's difficult for me to say the order. But oh my gosh, I was just so mesmerized. And so I got to know them, learn more of their songs. I listened to the whole album eventually and was like, wait, wow, they're talented, they're funny, they're so beautiful, like handsome, gorgeous, all the things. And I'm like, wow. And they really enjoy what they do. And though that's like, top criteria for me for groups. Like they enjoy what they do, have good music, and have personalities. Like they're just great. And so that's how I got into WayV. And side tangent as well, but that'll also be saved for a specific episode for WayV. On my youth, top tier. I was like, yes, a WayV comeback. My first comeback as a Wazenny, like officially. I was just like, wow, this is amazing. So that was like kind of like my initial start with NCT, like fully, because I had no idea that WayV is actually a part of NCT, because my brain was like, wait, they are? Because I saw them in other content with the other NCT boys and was like, wait a minute. Like, I thought it was just like they're the same company, right? They're not like a part of NCT, right? Because my brain was like, NCT means you have to have NCT in the name. It's going to be a lot of repetitiveness. But that's what I thought and assumed. So when I found out that WayV is actually a part of the NCT universe, I was so... what the heck? I am still like that. I'm still just like, what do you mean they are? It's not a problem, because if anything, I really enjoy that more. But I was just like, wait a damn minute. What do you mean? What do you mean? So, the other unit that I got into... essentially, I don't know if it was at the same time, but I definitely learned more about 127 a lot later on. So, 127 specifically, how did I learn? So I watched Sticker, sorry. When I said ramble, I'm gonna ramble. Usually I try to have like a script or like something, like at least an outline is what I mean, to like follow what I'm gonna like say, so have somewhat of an order. This will probably be the most rambly. Like I said, new setup, I'm comfortable, and NCT universe is also just like a whirlwind for me. So, anyways, back to the point. 127. Around the time that Sticker, their song / music video for Sticker came out, I kept seeing it all over social media, and people were like, oh, you either hate this song or you love this song. And I'm just thinking, okay, like, I had enough influence to try and give it a shot, because I was just thinking, like, nah, I'm not going to listen to them, or, like, I'm not going to give it a try. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on the side that doesn't really like it. So, eventually I gave in, because of my own self and my own curiosity. I listened to Sticker, and immediately was like, what? And so, if you guys don't know that song, essentially, it's, in my head, I would say that it's funky, because when I first initially heard it, like, some parts I really liked, but as a whole, I was like, wait a minute, does that make sense with that part that I just listened to? And it really, like, didn't, like, my brain was like, no. But people kept saying, like, but it's really good. Like, you just had to keep, like, listening to it. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm just thinking, are we sure? Because I just don't like it. I don't think I necessarily said I would hate it, but I just didn't like it. It wasn't for me at the time. So, despite that, I did try and keep listening to it, because I was just, like, curious. Because I also saw, I'm like, oh yeah, so some of the Super M members are actually in this music video, because I recognize, like, some of them. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll give it a try, you know? So, eventually, I saw that there was a live version of them performing the song. And sometimes, for me, sometimes the live version actually makes it worse. Or, like, performances, I'm like, oh, that wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. And so, I don't know what inclined me to actually, like, watch and listen to the live performance of that song, but I did, and I don't regret it, because when I heard it, I was like, wait a minute, this song is so much better live, that I had that specific song, like the live version, on repeat, and was like, wait, this makes sense now. Like it like satisfies my brain. Like it hits different with the live version. And I'm just thinking, wow, like if someone told me to watch the live version and like it makes it better, I don't think I would have believed you. Because sometimes even though people can say that they like it or hate it, I feel like I have to do it for myself. But even then, I'm like, I'm going to wait until I'm ready. I'm not going to just do it because people keep saying it. So eventually I got obsessed with the song and was like, wait a minute, this is actually really catchy. And so essentially I gaslit myself into liking that song because I was like, nah, I don't like it. People, like, I don't, like I said, I didn't think I hated it. I definitely didn't love it. But eventually I was like, wait, the parts that are good, like, are really good, and now it all makes sense, and I gaslit myself into liking it, and I just laugh about it to this day, because that's how I nickname it for me. So, at this time, I still didn't really know 127, though. I knew of Sticker, and that was about it. And I knew Taeyang and Mark for sure. Like, those two members for sure I knew about, but I still didn't realize that, wait, was Haechan also a part of Super M? I'm a fake fan. It's been a very long time since I've watched, like, the Super M content. But one of them had pink hair. But I don't think Haechan was a part of Super M. I don't know why I thought he was. I think Mark was the one that had pink hair. I think that's why I'm mixing them up at the time. But I knew for sure... Oh, yeah, I'm mixing it up. Apologies. Yes. It was Mark who had pink hair. And then Taeyang. And then I knew about them from Super M because I recognized their faces from watching their music video so much. I was like, okay, cool. So... like I said, that was around the time that they released the song. And little did I realize that I actually kept listening to it throughout the years. Because tell me why I think it's been like 2 years since that song was released. And I still like have it on repeat sometimes. And I was like, wait a minute, it's been 2 years? I've known about them for 2 years? But I never like actually listened to the other songs at the time. Or so I thought. Because I realized that when I was trying to understand NCT, in the beginning, in the way beginning, when I was first diving into other K-pop groups, I tried to learn about NCT, but my mistake was trying to listen to an NCT U because, to break it down, I know we're like in the middle or like 10 minutes, however many minutes into this, so in case, I don't know if this is going to be like a learning lesson for anyone, but just in case, even though I know it's not in the beginning and I could have explained it, essentially NCT consists of different subunits. So there's 127, there's Dream, there's Wish, and then there's also WayV, and those are the 4, from what I understand. And then there's NCT U, as in the letter U. And so that means NCT U is like anyone in NCT can become like, meshed together to make a song. Meanwhile, the other 4 are like the dedicated groups. And so my mistake was trying to listen to an NCT U song. And I was like, wait a minute, who's in this group? Because I'm so confused. And me trying to Google it on my own made myself more confused because the initial Google search at that time, I'm pretty sure didn't explain that NCT U was like anyone in NCT can be a part of that unit. So I gave up. And the song that I listened to was, what is it called? Oh gosh. Make a Wish? Is that what it's called? I'm thinking of Birthday, but that's a 10 song. But I think it's Make a Wish. And so at that time I was like, never mind. I'm not going to get an NCT. This is just too much for me. So, little did I know that unless my timeline is wrong, I'm pretty sure I listened or tried to listen to Make a Wish first before Sticker. But like I said, I could be wrong because I don't pay attention to the year. I don't remember when Make a Wish actually came out. So it could have been backwards. Or it could have been like I listened to Sticker first and then I tried to get an NCTU and I was like, never mind, I give up. So flash forward to now, like a few weeks ago, I think, maybe at most a month and a half ago, I was, listening to other NCT songs and was just like, wait a minute, I'm just curious of like other songs that maybe I haven't listened to yet. And I stumbled upon what is it called? Like so also from my understanding as well, NCT as a whole tend to release an album where everyone's involved and they have like subunit songs. And so I think it's Resonance, but I don't know the name of the actual music video. I don't know if that's what it's called. I think that's the album name, but I don't want to Google search that at the moment. But so that essential like group song, I stumbled upon that like a month and a half ago, let's say. And I was like, wait a minute, this like sounds familiar. And this kind of looks familiar. And I realized it was actually in my watch history. And I was like, wait a minute. So I actually knew about NCT way before I even listened to Sticker. So I was like, whoa. I was mind blown because I don't remember ever like actually stumbling upon it or like remembering that I wanted to go out of my way to watch it. So I was like, whoa, because it sounded so familiar. And it was just so wild to me that I realized like, oh my gosh, I've been into this universe subconsciously before I even realized, before I dived in deeper. And so that was just so wild to me. And so, kind of like so that's pretty much how I got into NCT 127. Eventually, sorry. Like I said, this is a lot of rambles. So, for 127, going back to like how I like actually like fully biased them and like all these things, found out my bias line. So, I did listen to Two Baddies because I was intrigued, because I was just like, you know what, I'm just curious. I'm not really into them yet. At this point, I was still casual. I was like, whatever, I'll give it a try. And I just really loved the line where it says Blue's Clues, and I just laughed. And like the Two Baddies One Porsche part, like just is so catchy to me, and it's so silly to me that I also kind of gaslit myself into liking that song as well. And I was like, you know what, this is fun. I don't know who they are yet, but this is pretty fun. And I honestly thought that Tang was going to be my bias, which is funny now because he's nowhere near like my bias line at all at this moment in time. So I just find it funny that back then I thought he was going to be. So I listened to Two Baddies and Sticker, and those were like my two like main songs for them that I would have in the background sometimes. And then what era did I really... Oh, yes. So then I kind of like just, like I said, casually listened to those songs specifically and was like, whatever, just gonna trail off. I have other groups. I think I was mostly focused on Stray Kids, which is why I just didn't really care enough for me at that point in time. So eventually, I don't know how or why I was inclined to watch or check it out, but I saw Fact Check, the music video for Fact Check, and this was back in, when was it? I was on vacation. Oh, November-ish. Yeah, November-ish of 2023 is when I decided to listen and watch the music video for Fact Check. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know what inclined me to check it out, but I don't regret it. Because ever since that moment, I was just like, wait a minute, this song is so catchy. And I realized it came out like way before. And I was thinking, I've been so late on this song. Like, why did I not know about this before? And so I kid you not, I had that song on repeat for like months. I kid you not, months. Like, I just could not get enough of that song. To this day, I still am like that, but not as strongly as I was when I first found out about it. Because, like, from November to, like, literally, like, February of this year, so, like, let's say a good 4 months, I could not get enough of that song. I was like, whoa. And so I was like, okay, now I gotta find out who my bias line is. I gotta know. I gotta learn the members. I just have to know. Because since I didn't know who was who in, like, Sticker... Now that I can figure out who's who now, can I figure out if would I bias the same person back then? So, to clarify, my bias line for sure now, because I was having, let's say, okay, let me tell you my original bias line and then my actual bias line, which is not that much of a difference, to be quite fair. So, bias line, originally, Doyoung, Yuta, Haechan, Jaehan. Jaehan was... I wasn't sure if he was part of my bias line, but I think my brain knew. No, my heart knew, but my brain didn't catch up. And Haechan, I think it was the other way. So now my bias line is Doyoung, Yuta, Jaehyun, and then Haechan. I don't know. Like, I forget what it was about Doyoung specifically. But for me, and when I pick a bias, when I know, I just know. Because even if I don't know who they are yet, even just like looks wise, like I can just tell who it's gonna be. And 9 times out of 10, I'm always right. Because when I was learning about them, I realized that some of my biases, like, they tend to have, like, my favorite lines in a song. Like, even though I didn't know they were my bias before, when I find out that they are, and I realize that they have my favorite lines, I'm like, I just knew it. That's one of the things. So for Doyoung, that was one of the things. I really can't remember, like, how I for sure chose him, though, as my bias. More like, I say I chose him, he chose me. Let's be real here. The biases choose you. I just don't remember how I originally gravitated towards him. I think it was certain lines that he sang in Fact Check that I was just like, he's the one. I can't tell you. And when I watched Sticker back, because when I first originally watched that song, like I said, I literally didn't know who was who. I only knew briefly, like, Taeyang and Mark. That was it. The other members, they have different color hair, or like, okay, sure. So when I started to learn the members from Fact Check era, I was like, oh my god, Doyoung literally has some of my favorite lines in Sticker. And then I realized as well that there's a certain line too that Yuta and Jaehyun sing together, and I was like, that's also another one of my favorite lines. Like, what do you mean? Oh my gosh, like that it's just meant to be. It's meant to be. And so, because of that, I learned all the members. Realized who my bias line was. Haechan also had some favorite lines of mine, so which is why I was like hesitant of like who would be my third bias. But Jaehyun stole the spot for me. I don't know how to explain that part though, but that can be a different story for a different day. Specific, because I want to have like an episode dedicated specifically to each of the units. But I don't want to like, flood y'all with like a bunch of that. So, that's how I got into 127. Also, side note though, even though like I said, I'm going to save other stuff for specific episodes dedicated to them. Just to be honest with y'all, I was hesitant to listen to Dojaejang, which is Doyoung, Jaehyun, and Jungwoo. That subunit, and was just like, what if their like music is not? What if it doesn't hit? What if it doesn't hit correctly for me? Like, what if it's not good for me? And I was really hesitant to listen to them, to their songs, and I was like, I don't want to do it. What if it like ruins it? And I am so glad I didn't let that stop me, because eventually I did listen to Perfume, and it is Chef's Kiss. Like, I had that song also on repeat, as long as with the other songs from the album on repeat for a very long time. So definitely love them. So that was how I got into 127. And then eventually I did get into NCT Dream, because like I said, like this is just a common thing with NCT specifically. I gaslit myself into figuring out and wondering, do I like NCT Dream? Is this a unit that maybe I don't like? Do I, don't I? Who knows? So I thought and just assumed I didn't like Dream's songs. I remember listening to Beatbox, I think, and like I kind of stopped myself halfway through the song. I was like, I don't like it, and just immediately just like, nope, can't do it. Just don't want to do it. I just refused. I just wasn't ready yet at the time. So eventually I listened to some of their other songs, and like I said, it's really fuzzy what happened, but ISTJ, let me tell y'all, ISTJ is just that song. Is just that girl. I am obsessed. As soon as I listened to that song, like fully, because I'm pretty sure I listened to it and thought, I would give them a try and I was like, no, I don't like it. But then when I fully actually gave them a try without feeling judgment or anything from myself towards them, because that's just a me thing, I was like, wait a damn minute. ISTJ is so good. It is so good. And so I had that song on repeat for forever. And then I started diving into their other songs, specifically from that album, and I was like, wait a damn minute. This is so good. They're so good. What was I doing? Why was I sleeping on them? And so I did listen to some of their other songs, and I do like some of their other songs. But ISTJ was the one that got me into Dream. I was like, wow. Like, just the lyrics and, like, the sound and just everything. Another reason why I also got into NCT Dream and, like, just in general. Yeah. So I remember. So, I actually, I don't remember if it was from a Doyoung PC, Yuta PC, or if it was just like not even an NCT related PC in general, but I had bought a PC from someone and they actually included a Jisung PC, like an official one, for free. And I was like gaslighting myself. Clearly you can see that that's a what's the word? A recurrence. That's a fancy way to say it. I was thinking of a different word. But anyways, a recurring theme here kind of thing. So I thought it wasn't official because I was like, I don't know their PCs, so I don't think it's official. But it looked so, like, quote unquote real that I was like, is it? Maybe it's not. I was going to put it in my binder without a sleeve because I thought it wasn't official, and just leave it in there. Maybe it's a sign for me to get into them, you know? And so I just let it be. And then a different time, someone used one of the album pages from Golden Age. So that was NCT's second full album, essentially. I think it is. Quote me if I'm wrong, or don't quote me on that, because I know it's from Golden Age, but I don't know what the exact, like, title is. They actually used a page of Chenla, for the trade or sale. I forget which one it was. And I was like, interesting. Maybe I should, like, you know, save it. I don't know. Like, it was just like more hints or more things were telling me you should get into NCT Dream. So, eventually I did find out that the Jisung PC was actually official, and I immediately took it out and sleeved it and actually put it in my binder, in my, like, big binder. Because actually he is a part of my bias line. Because I forgot, I didn't talk about my bias line. So bias line for Dream, I was debating on who was going to be first. So I was debating between originally Jaemin and Haechan, and then Jisung was going to be a bias line. So eventually I did realize it's Haechan, Jaemin, and Jisung. And it worked out because since 127 actually has Haechan and Dream, so 127 and Dream both have Haechan, so it worked out. So even though Haechan can't be third in bias line for 127, he's first for Dream. So that's funny, to me at least. So I figured out my bias line. Chenla, I'm pretty sure is fourth, but Chenla and Jeno kind of fight for fourth, but I'm pretty sure it's Chenla first before Jeno. And so that's how I got into NCT Dream, and that was just like a wild ride. I was like, oh my gosh. Speaking of Dream, the new song Smoothie, my thoughts on it, I like it, I don't love it. I think it'll grow on me, but I think I'm just so stuck in the ISTJ era that I'm just like, nah, this is the one. Oh, speaking of, by the way, the Jisung PC was actually from ISTJ era. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, it was meant to be. So all the signs were pointing to me getting into them. And I'm very thankful for it because they're very just so cute, so funny, love them. And then I was hesitant for NCT Wish, which was originally called New Team, I think. I don't know why they changed it to Wish, though, to be quite honest, because I got into them when they officially changed the name, and I was just curious, like, am I going to get into another part of the universe? Am I going to, like, not? I don't know. So I did follow them just to see the teaser images, and I was, like, trying to figure out my bias line. I was like, is it I think you pronounce it Shoyan. Sorry if I'm wrong, or sorry if I pronounced it incorrectly. I'm always very poor in that, and I also want to make sure I pronounce it correctly. So sometimes I'm really nervous to say names. But aka the leader, or I was thinking maybe it'd be Riku, and so this was based on just looks. And then eventually, I think what happened first. I actually don't remember what happened first. So there's their single, which I'm somewhat blanking on the name. If it is just called NCT Wish. Their single, love it. Both the Japanese version and the Korean version. I was just like, yep, this is really nice. This is actually really nice. What's the word? I lost my train of thought. So I was trying to figure out who was who, and it took me a hot minute because I was just like, wait a minute. So I did watch their Hello 82 video where it like shows all the members like in a line and they're answering rapid fire questions, which helped me a lot to know who was who, because I was just like, why can I not determine who's who? Who is my bias? Who is not? And little did I know, like I said, once I know, I just know. My bias line is Riku, Yuji, and Shoyan. Originally, I thought maybe it'd be Shoyan and Riku, but Riku is just my boy. He is my son. Along with Yuji, they're all so cute, though. They're all so cute. But pretty much I bias Hung line, which works out for me. So, like I said, I don't remember if I listened to their single first or if I listened to NASA or what was it? Hands Up. I don't remember the order. If it's kind of fuzzy because I don't know if it was NASA and then their single and then Hands Up or what the order is. But I know I watched all of them around the same-ish time, and I was trying to figure out what my bias was. And I figured out for sure it was Riku because he's just so cute. I just love him. Love him so much. So that's pretty much how I like got into NCT as a whole. And to this day, like I said earlier, I'm still just like, what do you mean WayV is a part of NCT? It's not a problem, like I said, because I really enjoy all of the universe. But I was just like, why is NCT not in their name? And so when I Googled it more recently, because my friend was also like, wait a minute, you're telling me that they're a part of NCT? And I'm like, yes. That's why I was also confused. So I guess it was like a legal situation, I guess, from my very brief Google search. But little did I know that WayV in particular would help me get into NCT even more so, because I really thought that WayV was their own separate entity, like I said, part of the same company but not a part of NCT. So when I realized like NCTU songs, oh yeah, because now I remember, yeah. So their latest or like newest like NCTU songs also threw me off because I saw like Kun and Xiaojun, and I was like, huh? Like, why are they a part of it? Are like they featuring on it? Like, what does that mean? And that's when I started to learn that it includes anyone in the universe. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is wild to me. What was the first? Oh yeah, speaking of NCTU, by the way, so Baggy Jeans, is so good. So good. Because another thing I love about NCT as a whole is that their sound is just so satisfying. Like, I don't know how to describe it to y'all, but like I don't know if the right word is like the background noise or like the elements that make up the song, like when they sing, but also like when they have like the backup parts. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if anyone's gonna understand what I mean. But like if you listen to like any NCT song and you just hear like the effects or like the things that happen when they're not singing, it really adds so much to their music. And the more that I listen to it, the more that I'm just like, wow, I can listen to this song and still find something new about it, even after having it on repeat for months on end. And like that's just how like addicting it is. Like, honestly. And I hecking love it because I'm just like, wow, like their music is so good. It's so good. And so I don't know which song in particular was first that I heard like that sound that I'm talking about, but I remember really clearly for Baggy Jeans because I didn't realize that was like the first NCTU like subunit. Because I was just thinking like, oh my gosh, wow, it has Doyoung, it has Ten, it has Jaehyun, and then it has Mark and Taeyong, who were my like first like gateway people into getting into NCT, and then has my bias line from like WayV and 127. So like, wow, this is this is amazing. Little did I know that was actually, from my understanding, the first like NCTU subunit. So people were like rejoicing that like, oh my gosh, they finally have another song together. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I was trying to listen to the other songs and see if I enjoyed them too. But like I said, for Baggy Jeans, like eventually I listened to the song and I heard like that background noise like being added to it. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, when did this happen? Why did I not notice it the first time around? Probably because I was, singing along very horribly to it, that I didn't hear it at first. Because I have like a set of headphones that specifically you can hear that. But the fact that I could hear like those sounds without using my like quote unquote like special headphones, like wow, that's amazing. So, anyways, so I did listen to other NCTU songs. For example, Alley Oop. Alley Oop is also that girl. That song never gets old. Also has like literally all my bias records in it. And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? All my bias records like pretty much in one group. Like, come on. Come on now. I did listen to Kangaroo and didn't like it initially because I was really confused. I was like, what is this song? But it's cute. It's not like my go-to song by no means, but it's cute. And then, oh my god, what is it called? The Bat? Is that what it's called? Why am I blanking on the name? That song, I don't know why I was just so, like, against liking that song. I, like, listened to it initially, and I was like, ooh, I don't like it. But, like, they're hot. But, like, I don't like it. I just don't know why my brain was just not, like, clicking. But eventually, after a long while, when I stopped listening to Baggy Jeans on repeat specifically, I listened to it again, and I was like, Rachel, what are you talking about? This song is so good. This song is so good. So, yeah. Oh, speaking of, another song that I thought I didn't like was Pato. I think that's how you say it. Like I said, very horrible pronunciations. I'm always scared to pronounce things wrong. But that song also was another one that I was just like, wait, why is Xiaojun here? Like, Xiaojun? Like, what? And I think it was on social media. I think it was like on TikTok specifically. I saw him. And I was like, wait, he's in this song? And that was also another realization, like, wait, he is a part of NCT. Holy shit. Like, what? So, I listened to the song, and I was like, it's alright. It's fine. I'm not gonna, like, gravitate towards it. Little did I know, after actually listening to it and knowing who was who, I was like, this song is so good. What were you thinking, Rachel? Like, why were you not giving it a chance? So, especially because Haechan and Xiaojun, like, their voices together is just pure magic. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I understood now because I think the TikTok said, like, oh, them, like, having vocals together or whatever, like, is so good. And I was like, sure, I guess. But I didn't really pay attention at the time because I didn't know. I didn't know yet. I was like, oh my goodness. And then the fact that it goes from, I think it's Xiaojun, Haechan, and then Jaehyun, like that whole part in the music video, I was like, oh my gosh. Because I was also confused why it said archiving video. And I was like, what is this? Because at this time I was still confused of like, not realizing WayV is a part of NCT. So I was like, what is it? Like, what is this nonsense that I just don't seem to understand? And because majority of my friends that I'm aware of at least aren't into NCT, so it was a whole new learning curve for me specifically to try and understand all of these groups, all of these subunits by myself. But also I love the challenge and like I just gradually got to know about them. So it's just like, wow, this is so wild. But yeah, that's just like, to this day, I'm still just like so amazed that there's so many of them, and I managed to learn each and every one. And I'm just like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Because it still blew my mind that, oh, because I didn't realize at the time, like I said earlier, so Mark and Haechan are part of 127 and Dream. And so that also threw me off. I was like, wait, they're in both? Because I'm like, WayV's not in, WayV's their own thing. And like, they're not in either one. Apparently, though, I realized a lot later on that Win Win was actually originally part of 127 and then, left, quote unquote, left to be specifically part of WayV and do other things. I was like, oh my goodness, that's so amazing. That's wild. Because I watched one of their older music videos for 127, and I was like, wait, why is Win Win here? I was so thrown off. And then I realized because he was actually a part of 127 originally. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got into NCT and that whole universe. It is just so wild, and I love them all so much. I'm just so excited for Do-young's solo coming. Jan's gonna have a solo this year. WayV's gonna have a comeback this year. There's so much content, and there's so many boys to love, and I love them all. So I'm really glad that I finally just decided to take a dive into the deep end and figure out 127, figure out NCT, because like I said earlier, I could literally have an episode for each unit of like how I figured out my bias line, what that consists of. Just have an entire episode just telling you like how I know who my bias is for any group, really. Because I could literally go on and on about each subunit, really. I think later on for Dream and Wish probably will be their own episode though, like together, because I don't really have that much for them. But WayV and 127 for sure, because if you're curious, my bias order for like the units, hands down, WayV number one for sure. 127, honestly, I'm not sure if Dream or Wish comes first, only because Dream I've known a little bit longer, but not that much longer. But also NCT Wish are just so cute, and I love them. And I know they're like newer, but I don't know if I would say Wish would come before Dream in my bias order. So I would say they're just tied. I don't think I can pick one to go before the other one, to be quite honest. But for sure, WayV is number one. Like, the love I have for WayV is like no other. They're like my old group, or one of my old groups, I should say. And like I said, still shocked that they're also a part of the universe. I'm like, since when? Also, 127 just mean a lot to me too. They're like really just great, and I love. I think I'm trying to remember. So for WayV, I also realized too a long time ago. I don't know how I stumbled upon their song. For a WayV song, I heard it a long time ago. I think maybe it came on my playlist, and I didn't realize it was them at the time. But I was like, this song is pretty catchy. I'll add it to my playlist. And then I realized it was WayV too. I was like, oh my goodness. But for some reason back then as well, I didn't get into them or like realize that they were part of SM or all these things. So what really solidified me as a fan was probably when I learned about them, and then Phantom era, really. I really don't know what solidified me as a fan for sure. But I know for sure 10 was the one who like introduced me to them technically. 127, fact check was for sure like, yeah, I'm like this, I'm all in. Let me know all about the members. Let me just find out who's my bias. I'm just gonna like, we're just gonna go. We're just gonna learn and just go with it. And then Be There For Me. Oh my gosh, Be There For Me is just so good. I think that also really like was just like, yep, I picked right. I picked correctly. I want to say there was another song. Oh yeah, for 127 for AO. I didn't listen to it at the time, but I think I listened to it around the time I listened to Baggy Jeans, because I think I was kind of nervous about listening to that song, because I was like, is this also going to be like a vibe or not? It's a vibe. Right now, I think I listen to it too much that I'm like, maybe I should take a pause in case I don't like it for some reason. But AO, also really good. Dream, ISTJ, for sure. There was another song I could have sworn. Oh, Glitch Mode! Glitch Mode was another song I gaslit myself into liking. Yep. I forgot about Glitch Mode because I was just like, this song is too like cutesy, but in a sense of like, I feel like it's a forced type of cuteness that I'm just like, ugh. So I didn't give it a shot, but when I kept listening to it, I was like, wait a minute, it's catchy. And I was like, this actually is really, really good. So, I think once I got past that, I was like, okay, yeah, I don't know if NCT Dream has their own fandom name versus like NCitizen. I forget how to pronounce it. But that was another reason why I got into them. And then Wish, when I first heard their single and was like, yeah, okay, no, this is good. I like it. And then Hands Up, like, oh, NASA and Hands Up, like, you know, they only release bops. So like, yep, I just have to know them. I have to. I'm just committed now. So yeah, that's how I got into NCT. Who would have thought it started with WayV, which literally does not have NCT in the name. But yeah, I have enjoyed it ever since. I love being an NCitizen, collecting their photo cards, all this other stuff, and I don't regret it one bit. If anything, I just keep enjoying it more and more. Although I am sad that Tang will be enlisting in the army soon. I think next month, So it's sad that we're not going to have a full 127 comeback because Tail has also been on a hiatus. So I was like, no. So, but yeah, that's how I got into NCT. I think that's it for this episode. I don't know how to wrap it up. I didn't think about how I was going to wrap it up, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be back with another Rambles soon-ish. I'm not sure what the next episode will be, actually. I guess I'll figure that out. But I really want to talk about NCT because I've just been in my NCT era and just wanted to talk about them a lot. So that's why this is my episode 3 of Rambles with Rachel. So, like I said, that's it for now. YouTuber things, like, comment, subscribe if you liked my content. I do appreciate it. Let me know what you'd like to see next, or if you'd like to hear about me ramble next. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, let's have a conversation, as I say in the beginning of this. Would love to hear your thoughts. If you're also into NCT, how did you get into NCT? Did you relate to any things I talked about? Or maybe you're like, wow, like was the exact opposite experience you had? Let me know. I would love to know. But yeah, other than that, I will see y'all on the next one. Bye-bye!